everyone. So today I'm going to work on the car trash bag project from the Open Gate Quilts subscription box. So I'm just going to let you know up front that I am not going to show any of the dimensions or anything like that. This is Monique's pattern and I don't want to give it away for free. I'm sure there are some similar designs you could find online if you really want to make one, or you can join the subscription box because there are always great patterns. So if you see that you're liking a lot of the ones that I show, then hop in there and get one because they have all been fabulous so far, and I love that they come with all the supplies you need. The only time they don't come with everything is if you know, it's the backing on a project, like one of the wall hanging quilts or things like that. But otherwise, you get everything you need in here, which I think is awesome, especially since you get 2 projects to do. So here are all of my supplies that I'm going to need. I have the fusible fleece here for the project. I have the fabric pieces, and I'm wondering if it's already cut for me. I'm going to look at the pattern because if it's already cut, oh my goodness, how amazing is that? So I'm going to look through the pattern, give everything a good press, and I'm just going to work through the project and then let you guys know how I felt about it, how I felt about the instructions, if it was easy to follow and all of that. So I'm going to press everything and we'll get started. Okay, so just to let you know, I pressed everything and got some of the items prepped. Everything was already cut to size for me, so oh my goodness, that made it so much easier. And I love that about projects like that, because sometimes you want to sew and you want everything to just already be ready. Because I don't know about you, but my favorite part is sewing. So let me show you what I did. So I pressed the lining fabrics, and like I said, they were already cut to size. So what we're going to be doing with these is, you know, you would have it pinned right side together. So if you're using a patterned piece of fabric, obviously that's noticeable, but these I'm just going to pin them together, and we'll be sewing just along 3 sides. So essentially we're going to be leaving the top open. So I'm not going to make you watch me pin all the way around this, but that's what I'm going to do, pin around the 3 sides. A lot of time if I need to leave an opening open, so if I don't want to get carried away and just sew the whole thing closed, I'll put 2 pins close together where I start and 2 pins close together where I'm going to finish up. So that'll kind of catch my attention and let me know that I don't want to keep just sewing and sewing and sewing. So that's what we're doing on the lining. Now on the outside fabric, I sewed the fusible fleece to the wrong side, or not sewed, I pressed the fusible fleece to the wrong side, and that was already cut to size as well. And I'll be doing the same thing. I'm going to be putting right sides together and sewing along 3 sides and leaving the top open. So for this, since it's really thick with the 2 layers of fabric and fusible fleece, I'm going to be just putting wonder clips around it, and I'll do 2 at the start and then 2 where I finish, and just go around the whole thing. So I'm going to set that the side so you don't have to see me clip all of that. And then I have the strap here. So what I did with this was folded it to the center and then folded it again. It's really similar to what you do with most straps that you make for tote bags and handbags and things like that. So and I'll be sewing a 1/4 inch seam, or an 1/8 of an inch seam along each side of the strap to hold it like that. So that is what I'm going to be doing, sewing all these pieces, finish pinning them, and then I'll let you know how everything looks in the rest of the process for this. So I'm going to get started on that. Okay, so everything is sewn. You can see that I've sewn the 1/4 inch seam along 3 sides of the squares, and then I have the handle finished. So what I'm going to be doing now is boxing the corners, and what I'm going to do is kind of finagle one of the corners flat, and I'll try to line it up as best as I can. You can kind of feel along and feel the seam and see if they're lined up. And then I'm going to mark where I'm going to sew. So I grab out, and I'll kind of line up one of the lines on my ruler along the seam so I make sure I'm straight. And I'll just mark how far in I want to box the corner. So I'll just sew along that seam, and I'll do that on both sides. Now you could use clips or pins to hold that in place while you take it over to the sewing machine. So I'm going to do that on this corner and then on this other corner. You could get them ready now if you feel comfortable, or just do them one at a time to make sure you know, have them straight and everything. So I'm going to do this on the lining and on the outer fabric. And since I'm doing this on the outer fabric too, this color may not show up as well on that, so I'll grab something else that's darker and might show up better, but I'm going to do the same thing on the outer. Okay, so I have the corners boxed, and what I'm going to do is make sure I have the rest of the bag pulled to the side, and I'm going to cut off a 1/4 inch away from the stitches. Now, one thing I'd like to say is when I first started doing these boxed corners on bags, like tote bags and different things, I was really nervous about them, and I would sometimes not sew them as well as I would have liked, or I'd sew them at the wrong way, not be lined up. So what I started to do was, before I would cut off the corner, I would turn the bag right side out and look at everything, and if I didn't like the way it was lined up, I would just rip out the seam and try again. Now, it's hard to do that if you cut off the corners before flipping it right side out and seeing if you like how it's how it all looks. So if you're not comfortable doing these yet, or if you've never done them and this is your first time trying, then definitely turn the bag out right side out before you cut anything. It really helps you know if you have everything lined up the way you would like. All right, so the instructions say to leave the lining wrong side out like this, and I'm going to turn the outside of the bag right side out. And you can already see at this point how it's coming together, and it looks really cute. And you could use this for something else. Once you get the lining in and put the handle on, this would be really cute to just hang, you know, on a hook in your room and store things in. You know, you could put little items in it that you like to keep on hand. You could use a bag like this hanging off the side of your cutting area with, you know, a bunch of your clips and different things in. So it doesn't necessarily have to be used as a trash bag, I don't think. But that's what I'm going to use it for, because I've always wanted one for my car. Okay, so the instructions now, we're going to put the handle in place. And so one thing you want to make sure is you don't have any like twist in your handle. You want to make sure that it is lining up correctly. And I think we're placing the edge of straps apart along the raw edge of the right side. So we're gonna tack it in place here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure from the seams. You could also eyeball it, and I'm gonna line it up the distance it says in the instructions apart. So what I'm gonna do is just tack it in place on my sewing machine, 1/8 of an inch seam, so that will all get hidden in the inseam when I sew the bag together. So I'm gonna do those measurements and just baste it in place. Okay, so I have the handle tacked in place. If I didn't say before, make sure you're just tacking it to one side of the bag. Don't tack it through both sides of the bag or you won't be able to open it. All right, so now with the bag, the outer side of the bag right side out, we're gonna slip it into the bag so that right sides are together, the lining bag. So we're just gonna stick it inside there. So the lining is still wrong side out. And as you can see, we're pushing the handle down inside of the bag as well. What I like to do is line up the seams, and I'll put a clip on those first and hold that in place, and then go to the other side. And we're gonna leave some of the lining or some of the top of the bag unstitched so that we can flip the bag through there, throwing clips around. So what I'm gonna do is figure out where I'm gonna leave the opening, and again, put 2 clips close together and 2 clips close together. Make sure you leave enough room. Sometimes I will leave too small of an opening and it's hard for my hand to reach through there, so make sure you give yourself some space there. And then I'll just put a few more clips to keep everything lined up. So I'm just gonna sew a regular 1/4 inch seam around the bag, and then I'll flip it right side out, even everything out. I'll probably press to get the seam nice, and then I'll just top stitch 1/8 of an inch around the whole bag, and that'll finish it up. It's a quick project, especially since everything was cut to size for me. All right, so here is the finished bag, and it looks just like the photo. It is so cute, and it came together so quick and easy. So the last step really is to put the trash bag in. So let's go ahead and do that now. And like I said, I think this bag could be used for other things if you wanted to. You could leave the handle off and have the bag available to put things in, store different things. All right, so the bag fits in perfectly, and she gives the size of trash bags to purchase for it. And then you can use the little clips she provided to make sure the trash bag stays in place. And there you go. So, all finished. What do you think of the project? How cute is that? And again, such a functional item that everybody needs to use. Let me put this one closer to that side of the handle. Love it. I am absolutely loving the Open Gate Quilt subscription. I will put the link to that subscription in my description of this video if you're interested in checking it out. So stay tuned, because coming soon this week, I'm also going to work on the picnic placemats. This was the larger project that came in the box. So I'll see you then. Bye.